Hello, I am Chandu Nair, handling the course on marketing management. Here we are going to talk about the new product development process. Now, by the end of this chapter, what we'll try and figure out is what exactly is meant by a new product, why does a company want to launch new products, the various techniques for generating ideas for new products, what are the steps in the new product development process. Many times products fail. Why do they fail? What steps do we need to take on the product line, our decisions, and there are other aspects which are more detailed in the book, which is on the market research for new products and all the various aspects around new product development. Now, in order to understand product development, it is important to understand that companies need to be innovative in order to be competitive and to stay alive. So there's a famous line today which says that what Sony did to Kodak, Apple is doing to Sony today. And I think if you ponder over this particular statement, you will understand that it is important for us to be relevant all the time, and to be relevant one must keep innovating and keep coming out with new kinds of offerings. So what exactly is innovation? We all know very clearly that innovation is really a source of long-term competitive advantage, and it applies not just to the whole of the marketing process but even to the company's culture as a whole. In marketing terminology though, any process or product that influences or changes the consumption cycle of consumers can be treated as innovation. If you were to take the smartphones, anybody will agree that the iPhone was a complete game changer in the way it approached a smartphone. Similarly, the iPad created a whole new category of a device, like the Sony Walkman many years before this. So those are all seen as really huge innovations. There can also be incremental innovations though, and that's something that we as marketers keep doing all the time. For the marketer, therefore, product development is a key manifestation of the innovation process, and therefore it's very important for us to figure out what exactly this entails. So first and foremost, a very important thing to understand innovation is to see where exactly are the gaps. There are words that you will hear being thrown around, blue ocean strategy, which is try to look at a new kind of a space rather than competing in the existing space. So what gaps exist out there? There could be gaps in different places, gaps in how things are being used. For instance, if you take smartphones, till the iPhone first came, almost all smartphones were the QWERTY keyboard based, very tactile. You needed to press buttons. The Apple, all you had to do was keep sliding away like this. So a completely different way of using a product. Second, it could be in terms of distribution. Take somebody like Dell. Till Dell came along, most computers, to consumers were sold through dealers and resellers. Dell said, hey, you know what, I can sell it to you directly. Went online, completely changed the way a product like a computer was sold to consumers. Third, there could be huge product gaps. For example, the move from tooth powder to toothpaste, from a powder form to a paste form. Similarly, in the paint business, from dry distemper to wet to oil-bound distemper. And finally, there could be other kinds of competitive gaps. Somebody has missed out something in some form or the other, and you are plugging away that gap. So there are various things that you need to do, and the best way to start off with is what is missing. So a big problem for many people therefore is what exactly is a new product. There's a lot of confusion because it can comprise so many things. For instance, it can be improvements or revisions to products that already exist, and most innovations today, really, people say, are nothing but incremental or minor modification to what exists. Most patents are actually being granted to fairly routine, one might consider routine or very straightforward minor changes in already existing innovations and inventions. Second, there could be some additions to the existing lines. For example, if you take detergent powder, somebody like Hindustan Unilever had Surf, they added something like Wheel. So is that a new product? Then there could be new to the world products. These are pretty rare kind of things. For instance, if you take somebody like DuPont, which came up with Kevlar, which was the bulletproof material which are used to make all those bulletproof vests which literally can stop a bullet. That's pretty rare to have something completely new. Then, like we saw, there could be kind of new product lines in terms of the forms or whatever else, or the same product could be repositioned to make it more amenable to use by somebody else. Again, there are cases galore, or it could be just huge cost reductions in existing products. Electronics is a good case in point where things are completely keeping on when the prices keep dropping almost all the time. So, a lot of confusion. Now, it depends what exactly one sees as a new product. Marketers, of course, try to make it look like this is the next new thing, after sliced bread. But how does one go about developing a new product? The first thing, a very important thing, is how are you able to generate ideas? Now, this is not just restricted to marketing. This kind of a process for ideation is there across the board. But it's important to see how you brainstorm or peer, there are various ways by which people try and figure out mechanisms by which ideas can be generated. Second is, how do you screen and evaluate these ideas? Third is translation of that idea into a concept. How do you develop that concept? How do you test that concept? Do you prototype it, etc., etc. Then after that, there is an initial business analysis made, whether it makes business sense. There is some amount of further product development and testing. There could be product lab testings, or there could be test marketing done, and finally the product is launched. Now, what I am going to show in the next slide is a more pictorial representation of these steps with some kind of framework. Now, this slide is not very clear because it's a picture slide, and therefore the clarity is not very great. Now, in the middle are the steps that we talked about, generation, screening, concept development, business analysis, prototype, test marketing, and product launch, the commercialization aspect. But on the left side is what factors influence the new product development process. There can be aspects to do with the organizational culture, because some companies, for instance like 3M, have a policy that every 3 years so much percentage of their revenue needs to come from new products. So that company has a culture of constantly innovating. Apple too is seen as a great innovating company. Some other companies are not seen in the same fashion. So there is an issue of the culture and the structure. Has the company also got a way by which it constantly keeps looking at new products and so on and so forth. The second thing is also the leadership, therefore. How committed is the leadership? How much resources is it willing to do? There's also an issue of individual initiative. There are a lot of places where a company may not be so innovative or so on and so forth, but there could be specific individuals who are seen as very innovative and have actually propelled the company to great heights. Nintendo, for example, has a key inventor who has developed some of their best games. Now, his individual abilities are world known. Similarly, in issue of team building, does the company or the organization have a team to ensure that various steps, like we have indicated here, there are people to take it forward and to add value at each stage. So there are various strategies too for improving the way you take this idea to market, the efficiency with which you do it, and the quality with which you do it. So there are aspects out there where you can have like product development maps that you can create, or project return maps, or purchasing expertise. Better sourcing, for example, can help you develop things at a much lower cost, having outsourcing relationships, and so on and so forth. So what here we are trying to say is there are various things that impinge upon this new product development process, both internal and external, and as a marketer it's important for us to understand all of this.